Welcome to this session. In this session, I'm going to answer one of the Java interview questions. That is, what is the difference between static and non-static methods in Java? Let me answer this question with practical demonstration. In order to, okay, in order to give the answer for this particular question, where I'm going to explain and practically demonstrate the differences between the static methods and non-static methods in Java, I collected these 7 points, guys. Okay, these particular 7 boxes contains the answer for this particular question. Each and everything I'm going to explain in a theoretical and practical way at the same time. So let's get started with the first difference between the static and non-static methods. The first one is static methods have static keyword, okay, specified. Okay, in the method declaration, you are going to specify the static keyword. Okay, there is a keyword, a predefined keyword in Java known as static keyword is there that if you specify in the declaration of the method, okay, that becomes a static method. Simple, right? And there is other method, guys. Let's say when you are declaring that method in the method declaration, if you are not specifying or providing the static keyword, in that case, that particular method will become a non-static method. You can also call that as an instance method also. Okay, non-static is nothing but the instance method, object related method. Static methods belong to the class, instance methods belong to the objects. So the methods which are specified with the static keyword are static methods which belong to the class, whereas the methods which are not specified in the declaration with the static keyword, they belong to the object, hence they are called as instance methods. Let me show you practically by creating some method here. Some static methods and some non-static, that is instance methods I'm going to create here. I'll create a package, guys. I'll simply name the package as .9. 9 is already there, guys. I'll go with the 10 then. 10, press enter. Yeah, in the package 10, I'm going to create a new class. I'll just name this class as, some sample class, guys. Inside this sample class, I'm going to create method. Okay, I'm going to create methods. So first method, public void method 1. Public void method 1. Okay, public void method 1 I'll provide. And here I didn't specify any static keyword. In the method declaration, anywhere you see the static keyword being specified, static Java predefined keyword is specified inside instance, that is non-static method otherwise. Okay, instance method or static method. Okay, this is an instance or non-static method, guys, where in the method declaration, we don't have the static keyword. If I create one more method, that is public void method 2. And in this method declaration, if I add a keyword like static keyword here, which is a predefined keyword in Java, then this particular method belongs a static method inside static method. Okay, the method that contains the static keyword is called as static method. The method that doesn't have contain the static keyword in the method declaration is called an instance method or non-static method. Okay, so these instance methods belong to the objects, whereas static methods belong to the classes, guys. You'll understand why I'm saying belong to the object and why static methods are belonging to the class and non-static instance methods are belonging to the object. I'll cover that later anyhow. Let's go with the next point, which will differentiate the difference between the static and non-static methods. Second point is static methods can only access the static stuff directly. Okay, static methods can only access the static stuff directly. What about the non-static stuff? They cannot be accessed directly, but you have to access them by creating an object. Okay, indirectly can be accessed. Non-static stuff inside the static methods can be accessed by creating an object for them. Okay, I'll show you guys first, and at the same time, non-static methods can access both static and non-static stuff directly. So for example, here, this is a non-static method, which is an instance method. It can access both static and non-static stuff. Can access both static and non-static stuff. What do I mean by stuff? Stuff means variables or methods. For example, here I create some global variables. In a is equal to 5, into b is equal to 10. Here, before a particular variable, if I provide static keyword here, it becomes a static variable and it belongs to static stuff. And this particular variable is there. Okay, this particular variable is there, guys. This particular variable is not provided or specified with the static keyword. Okay, it's not provided with the static keyword. Hence, it belongs to the non-static stuff, that is object related thing. Okay, non-static stuff, non-static variable and static variable. Here, non-static method and static method. Okay. Here I mentioned simply that a non-static method, okay, can access both static and non-static stuff. This is a non-static method which doesn't have the static keyword, can access both static and non-static stuff, guys. I'll create one more method, public void. You'll understand why I'm creating here. Public void method 3 I'll create and simply say system.out.println inside other non-static instance method. Okay, like this. Now, guys, I told you right from the non-static methods, you can access both static and non-static stuff. That means here, if I want to access this particular variable, which is a non-static variable, instance variable, you see, I can access. Any error is coming? No, I can access. What about this static variable can access inside the non-static method? Yes, I can access system.out.println b. I can access. You see, no errors at all. Now, from this non-static method, can I access both static and static stuff. The static and non-static is not only specific to the variables, but also for the methods. So I want to call this particular method, which is static method. You see, method 2, I can access without any problems. From a non-static method, I can call the non-static methods. And method 3, which is a instance method or non-static method, can also be accessed. You see, both static and non-static stuff can be accessed from a non-static method. But what about the static method? Static methods can only access the static stuff directly. Here, both static and non-static stuff, okay, direct access is there. They can directly access the both static and non-static stuff. I don't have to create an object or something here. Here, coming to the static methods, can only access the static stuff directly, but access the non-static stuff, okay, object creation is required. I'll show you that. Okay, here in this static method, if I try to access this non-static variable, you see, you will not be able to access. You'll get an error. System.out.println a. You are getting an error, right? You cannot access that. This is not possible. Directly, it is not possible. System.out.println b, I can access because static methods can access the static stuff directly. So without even creating the object, I can access the static stuff directly. That is, static variables or methods can be called directly without creating the object. But to access the non-static stuff like non-static variables and non-static methods, direct way is not possible, guys. I'll also show you how to, I'll try to call this method 1, which is a non-static method from the static method 1. Error will come. Cannot call it. You see, this is a non-static stuff cannot be called or accessed directly. Where about method 3? Method 3 also you cannot access, guys. I have to create one more method, guys. Okay. Method 3 is a non-static method anyhow. Okay, that cannot be accessed. I'll create one more static method, public static void. Method 4 I'll say, and here I'll simply write down system.out.println inside other static method. Okay, like this. Now, if I want to call the method 4, I can call it, guys, without any problem. I can directly call. No error will come. You see, no error is coming. For method 1, error is coming. For variable a, error is coming because their non-static stuff cannot be accessed directly by the static methods. Then how to access the non-static stuff inside the static methods? For that, we need to create the object, guys. Okay, for that we need to create an object. So the class in which this non-static variable and non-static methods are available, right? For that particular class, we have to create an object. So after sample is equal to new sample, like this. If you create an object for the class, then using the object reference, using this particular object reference, you can access. Okay, you can access system.out. Earlier you were not able to access the variable a directly, right? Because it's an instance variable that cannot be accessed directly inside the static methods. But now sample.a I can access. Using the object reference, I can access. Simply sample.method. I can access the non-static methods also, method 1, or sample.method 3. I can access method 3. I can access. Okay, using the object reference, we have to access this. Using the object reference, we cannot access them directly. So hope, guys, you got some clarity here. Static methods can access only the static stuff directly, but in order to access the non-static stuff, which are instance related stuff, okay, we have to create an object. Whereas non-static methods, which are instance methods, can access both static and non-static stuff. It can be static variables or static methods can be accessed directly. No need of creating any object here. Okay, here no need of creating an object. No need to create an object for anything. Okay, simple. Two differences are done so far with theoretical explanation and practical explanation, practical demonstration. I covered the 2 points. Now let's move on to the third point, guys. Third point. What is the third point here? Static methods belong to the class. Already I covered this. Okay. Static methods belong to the class. Instance methods belong to the object. That means, for example, if I create example, guys, I'll just make it look small here and create another class, guys. Let's create a new class. I'll just name this class as demo class. With main method I'll create. With main method I'll create, so that this is a separate class from a different class. If you want to access the okay, from a different class, if you want to access the this static variables and static methods within the class, you understood, right, how to access and all. Now outside the class, from this particular method, if you want to access the static variables and the instance variables, what is the process? For since non-static variables and non-static methods belong to the object memory, to access the non-static or instance stuff, we have to create an object for the class, guys. Outside the class also, we have to create an object. Sample s1 is equal to new sample. Like this, I'll create an object for the sample class, and using the object reference is here you see, if I write system.out.println, s1.a, this is a non-static or instance variable. Using the object reference, we have to access, guys. Using this is a s1 is object reference and this is a chain. Now, if you want to call a non-static or instance method, using the object reference, you have to call, guys, method 1 s1 dot method. Then 2 is a static method. That's okay. We should not be calling method 3. Method 3 is a non-static method. Okay, this is how we can access a static, non-static methods and non-static variables and non-static methods outside the class. But if I have to access static stuff outside the class, if I want to access the static stuff of that particular class, you don't have to create this object, guys. You don't have to create the object directly, guys. Directly you can access them with the help of the class name. So simply I'll write down outside the class, if I want to access the static variables and static methods using the class name. What is the class name? Sample dot d. You see, I can access the static variable with the help of the class name. Okay, whereas non-static variables and methods should be accessed using the object reference, for which you have to create the object, and using that object reference of the object, you have to access them. But for calling the static variables and static methods, for accessing the static variables and static methods, you don't have to do this stuff, guys. Simply use the class name and say method 1, method 2 you say, and similarly sample class dot method 4 also. Method 4 is also a static method. If you can see, directly you can access, guys, with the help of class name. You don't have to create an object like this. Okay, so this is another difference, guys. This is another difference. Static methods belong to the class, hence using the class name you can access the static variables and static methods outside the class, whereas instance methods belong to the object, hence you have to create an object outside the class, and using the object reference of that particular object, you have to access the variables, instance variables and instance methods outside the class. This is the third difference, guys. With theoretical and practical demonstration, I have answered this for you. Now fourth difference, that is, this keyword cannot be used inside the static methods. This keyword cannot be used inside the static methods. For example, this is a non-static method. So I want to return something. Return this, the object of the current. This means what? Object of the current class. The return type will be sample here. Okay, you see, I can use this keyword inside the method. What about this one, static method? Can I use return this here? You see, even though if I say this is a sample also, okay, there will be error. You see, you cannot use this keyword inside the static methods. This means object of the current class. This means current object of the current class or current object of the class. Okay, you are referring to the, you're simply, instead of creating like this, right, instead of creating an object like this, okay, in the short form you are using this keyword, guys. Okay, this keyword you are using, okay, cannot be used inside a static context. Okay, you cannot create an object for the current class and use this in the static methods concept. This is not possible, guys. This is not possible. Okay, again I'll change it to what? In instance method you can use this keyword. You see, this keyword can be used inside the instance methods. Okay, whereas in the static methods you cannot use, because this belongs to the object concept, but static methods belong to the class. So conflict is there between the class and this object kind of stuff. Here instance method belong to the object, hence returning the object is fine. Returning the object of the current class is fine. Okay, because this is instance methods means non-static methods means object related methods. So object related stuff can be returned, etc. But here you cannot do that. Fine. There's another thing, guys. There's another difference between this keyword cannot be used inside static methods, where it can be used inside the instance method. One of the example I gave you already with practical demonstration. Now coming to the fifth difference, guys. Fifth difference is that static methods are loaded into the memory when the class is loaded. Okay. JVM to run the Java programs. JVM, Java Virtual Machine, is the one which is behind running this particular code. Okay. In order to run the Java code, the Java Virtual Machine component of the Java will load this particular class into the, okay, will load this particular class, guys, into the memory. Okay, static. So when the class code, that Java class related code is loaded into the, okay, memory for running the code and all, okay, along with that, static methods which belong to the class also will be loaded. Okay, during the compile time only. During the compile time only. Before the object is created only, the static methods are loaded into the memory along to run the Java class. Okay, JVM will load the class into the memory. Along with that class, right, static methods also will be loaded. You don't have to create an object in order to, okay, you don't have to create an object here. Before you create an object only, the static methods are loaded into the memory during the compile time itself. Okay, when you create a class and during compiling itself, before you run the code and all, what happens is when the class is loaded, along with the class, static methods also along with the class will be loaded into the memory, and they can be called using the class name, because of which you don't need to create an object to access the static variables or static methods. Whereas coming to the instance methods, they are loaded into the memory. Okay, JVM will allocate the memory for this instance variables and methods. Okay, instance variables and methods when an object is created, guys. Okay, here JVM will allocate the memory to this static methods along with the class. Okay, when the object is not yet created. Okay, while running the code, when before the object is created only, while the class is class details are being loaded into the memory for running purpose, static methods are also along with that being loaded. You don't have to create an object. But for instance variables and instance methods, okay, the memory will be allocated to them only when JVM, when an object is created only, the JVM, okay, before the object is created. Here, after the object is created, that is after object is created only, after the object is created for the class, the memory will be allocated for the variables and methods, okay, which are instance variables and methods. Okay, so this memory wise, these are the details, guys. Memory wise, these are the differences. Now coming to the next one. Okay, hence after creating the object only, using the object reference, you can access these variables and methods. But coming to this one, you don't have to need an object here. Directly using the class name you can access. So when the class is loaded by JVM into the memory, static methods automatically will be loaded, and using the class name you can access them. But to access the variables and methods, instance variables and methods, you need to create an object. Then only JVM will allocate the memory for this instance variables and methods. Using the object reference only, you can access that particular variables and methods. Okay, next difference is static methods cannot be overridden but can be hidden, whereas instance methods can be overridden. Okay, first I'll explain about the instance methods, guys, how they can be overridden. After that, I'll explain about the static methods. Okay, so here I'll create another example. I'll take this another example because this will confuse you if I give the code in the same one. I'll just create another package. I'll just name the package as new package levn dot lev11 package. Let's assume. Let's create a new class. I'll just name this class as class P, some class P. Let's say class P. I'm going to make this particular class P as a parent class. That's the reason I'm naming it as class P. And I'm going to create one more class, guys. I'm going to create one more class. Here itself, I'm going to create one more class, guys. That is class C. I'm going to make this class C a child class of the class C. How to make this class C a child class of the class P? Extends class P. This particular extends keyword will, as part of the inheritance, will make the class C a child or subclass of the class parent class of the superclass class P. Once this extends keyword is done, now whatever the methods you create here, for example, in the class P, if I create a method like public void sample one, or sample method, if I create, let's say system.out.println inside sample method hyphen which class? Class P parent class. Okay, here also the exact same copy paste method I'll create, guys. I'll just copy and paste. Okay, anyhow this particular method will be inherited by the child class, but still the child class is actually creating the exact same ditto copy of this particular method in the parent class. In such cases, we call this particular method as overridden method. Okay, if I add the override keyword, right, no error will come, means this particular method is really overriding the method in the parent class. Okay, so these methods are instance methods, guys. Instance methods can be overridden. Okay, instance methods can be overridden. If you write override, it confirms that instance methods can be overridden. Here, inside sample method class C, I'll say, okay, this particular method belongs to the class C, which is an overridden method. Now, if I create another class, guys, if I create another class here, I just name this class as demo class. Just observe that, guys, what is happening here. Okay, so here we have the parent and child classes having the same sample methods, and the same sample method in the child class is said to override the sample method in the parent class. In such kind of situations, guys, if I, okay, if I try to create an object for the, class C, let's say, okay, class C CC is equal to new class C. If I create an object for the class C like this, and using the object reference, if I call the sample method, which method will be called, guys? Child class method will be called, or parent class method will be called, because in the parent class also we have the sample method, in the child class also we have the sample method. When I say cc.sample, so what is happening here is ambiguity is there here. That means the same sample method is inherited by the child class from the parent class. At the same time, the child class has its own sample method, which is exactly matching with the parent class method. In such cases, the method which is inherited from the parent class will be called here by the object reference of the class C, or the method which is class C's child class its own duplicate sample method will be called here. Which one will be called? I will say that overridden method will be called. This concept is called as overriding, guys. When the parent class has the same method as the child class, and child class method is said to override the method in the parent class. In case of instance method, that is possible. And if you try to call the object using the object reference of the child class, inside sample method of class C will be printed here. That is child class related method is being called. What if I do something like this? If I try to create an object for the class P, CP is equal to new class P. In this case, I'm creating an object for which class, guys? Parent class. And if I use this object reference and call the cp.sample method, what will happen here? What will happen in this case? Here, directly you are creating an object for the parent class, and using the object reference of the parent class, when you can call the sample, right? Parent class is not inheriting any method from anywhere. It's actually is a parent of this class, but this is not the child of this class. So hence, directly this particular method of the parent class will be called inside sample method of class P will be printed here. You see in the second statement, you can see inside sample method class P got printed. That's also good. But there's one more confusing statement, guys, that a lot of people get confused. Like class P CP is equal to variable is object reference is declared with the parent class, but object is created for child class. This is possible in Java, guys. In Java, we can create an object using the new keyword. We are creating an object for the class C, but assigning that object to the variable of the parent class, guys. That's okay, guys. Okay. If I say, sorry, here CP is there, right? CP2, I'll say otherwise. Okay. So different name. CP2 dot sample method. If I call, which method will be called in this case? Here object is created for the child class, but the object is assigned to the variable which is declared with the parent class. In such kind of situations, what will happen? Still, guys, because of the overriding concept, in this case also, even though the variable is declared with class P, but object is created for the class C, this overriding concept, with the help of overriding concept, right? The method that is specific to the class C will be called instead of the method that is inherited from the class P. Okay. The overridden method in the class C will be called instead of the inherited method from the class P. Okay. So here, child class method will be called, that is inside sample class C will be printed. This is inside sample method class C. This is all good, guys. So far, it is all good. What if I add static keyword here? If I add static key here, immediately I'm getting an error saying that overriding is not possible for the static methods. Exact same method. What did I do? I just gave the static keyword here. Okay, static keyword. Okay. So when I do that, static methods cannot be overridden. Static methods which are there in the parent class cannot be overridden. It's the same methods we cannot override. But if I remove this override, the error will be gone, guys. Overriding is not being done, but this concept is called as the child class can have the same exact same static method that is there in the parent class, and this concept is not called as overriding. If you write the override keyword, you are getting an error saying that this particular method is not really overriding the method in the parent class. Then how it is possible to create the exact duplicate copy of the static method in the parent class? This concept is called as data hiding. Sorry, method hiding. Okay, instead of method overriding, method hiding guys. This is called as method hiding guys. So static methods will hide the data in the parent class, etc. Something like that. So in this case, guys, what will happen if I say cc.sample? Okay, I cannot. You see, I should not be using the objective. I should not be creating. Okay, I should not be creating object because to call the static methods, right? Why should I create an object, right? Why should I create? Warning messages are coming, error messages are not coming. But you understand, guys, when I create an object for the class C and using that object reference, I'm calling this the static method which is there in the child class will be called. That's okay, even though it's not a correct approach, but still, I'll show you what is called as method hiding. So class P CP is called new class CP means the this method in the parent class will be called. What about this case? When you create an object for the child class and assign to the variable of the parent class, in that case, guys, using the object reference of this parent class declaration declared parent class and object is related. In this case, you may think that this particular method will be called, but parent class method will be called. Even though the object is created for the class C, which is child class, but assigned to the variable of the parent class, here parent class method will be called, guys. Whatever the type of the object reference is there, based on that, that particular method is called. Unlike overriding, okay, in case of overriding, right, when I say the same statement, right, it was calling the child class method. But in case of method hiding, okay, where static methods are, in the form of method hiding is being done here, same static methods. In that case, parent class, okay, whatever the object reference declared with, that particular method will be called. You will see that last statement will be different, guys. Last statement will be different. Class P is coming. Earlier, class C has come here. Inside sample method of class C came here in place of overriding, and static keyword was not there before these methods. But here, because of the method hiding, parent class methods will be called. But this is not the right way anyhow. If you want to call the static methods, right, generally how to call, you should not be creating an object, guys, directly class P, what dot sample, that's it. If you want to call the child class method, class A dot sample, okay. Okay, so this is no need to create an object here. No need to create an object dynamically. You don't have to create an object here. Okay, to get these methods being called, you can call them directly, whether it is parent or child, right? Appropriate methods will be called. Class P and class C got called with the help of class names. Okay, this is the best way of calling it. But if you still try to do this, you will get a different output when compared to the overriding. Static methods cannot be overridden, but can be hidden. Instance methods can be overridden. I showed you because the instance method can be overridden. I was able to write the override method in the child class in overridden method. And this allows runtime polymorphism. Whatever the object that you are assigning to the object reference, right? That class object related method will be called. Okay. Okay, whether it is in parent, it's definitely child class method will be called, guys. Okay, that is called as runtime polymorphism. Whatever the class for which you are creating an object and assigned to the variable of either parent or child class interface, that child class doesn't matter, guys. It will definitely call the object class object created method, okay, which definitely will be there in the child class or something like that. Okay, static methods cannot be overridden but can be hidden, guys. In this case, compile time polymorphism happens where the method calling will not depend on which type of object to which class you are creating object. Rather, the method calling will happen based on the declaration of that particular object, using which class you are declaring the object. Here you see, here in this case, using which class you are declaring the object, class P. That means in case of method hiding, the class using which you have declared its object reference, that particular method will be called, that is parent class method will be called here class P. In this case also class P is the parent class method will be called. In this case class C is the child class method will be called. Okay, but in case of method overriding, for which class you are creating object, that particular class's method will be called. Class C method will be called. Here class P method will be called. Here class C method will be called in method overriding. But in method hiding, that is in static methods, method hiding will be there. Method overloading, method overriding will not be there. In that case, okay, in static methods, the object reference declared class related methods will be called, and that's the thing, guys. That's another thing. Compile time polymorphism. You can call this kind of concept as compile time polymorphism in case of static methods. Okay, duplicating the methods in the parent class is compile time polymorphism will happen. In case of the instance methods, duplicating the method in the child class, that is called as method overriding, and that is called as runtime polymorphism. Based on the type of the object you are assigned to the object reference, such kind of method will be called overridden method will be called, rather than the object reference declared class related method. Okay, that's object related class method means compile time polymorphism. Okay, the last difference between the static and non-static methods. Hope you have learned a lot so far. Okay, so I'm static methods and instance methods. Okay, useful for creating the utility. What is the usage of static methods in real time? Why do we have to create static methods? One of the thing is for common. If you want to do some common stuff across the objects, for all the objects, a common activity you want to do. Okay, then all these objects, instead of creating separate methods, right, you can create a common method, okay, which can be used by all the objects. With the help of class name, we can call the common methods, guys. That is one purpose. Other thing is like easy. You use the easiness, guys. Easiness means what is easy? Creating an object and using the object reference calling a method is easy, or directly using the class name accessing is easy. Which one is easy? In this case, this way is easy, or this one is easy. By creating an object and using the object reference calling the particular method is easy, or directly using the class name is easy. Using the class name, it will be very easy and readable, guys. So mostly in real time, right, whenever you need to call the multiple methods of the same class, right, okay, there are list of methods in a class, and frequently you call the particular methods of the class, then you don't really like to create an object for the class, and using the object reference, you don't want to call the methods, okay. But guys, when you create but when you know but when you make them static, all the methods, list of methods in that particular class, when you make it static, right, using the class name, you can access the methods, okay. Using the class name, you can access the methods, okay. Static methods can be accessed using the class name, which is very easy, guys. So utility methods, okay, in most of the cases, if the list of methods from a single class need to be accessed multiple times, right, in that case, instead of creating object for the class, right, we make all these particular methods of static inside that, and using the class name, we can access the methods, and that we call as utility classes or utility methods inside the utility classes. And two purposes are there here. Static method purpose are creating a common method or variable for the multiple objects and of the same class, and also for creating utility methods which can be accessed in any easy format, okay. Then instance methods, the purpose is to perform operations, okay. Whatever the methods that you want to perform the operations on the object related stuff, okay, which is not a common related stuff, object specific operations you want to do, such kind of methods you'll create for the object related operation. To perform the object related operations are called as instance methods, and the way to access the instance methods is only by creating an object for the class, and using the object reference, we have to call that particular instance methods, guys. So these are the different differences that I wanted to cover as part of this session, guys, okay. So that's all for this session, guys. So with practical demonstration and theoretical explanation, I gave good number of differences between the static methods and instance methods, that is non-static methods in Java. Hope you got good knowledge from this session. So that's all for this session. Thank you. Bye-bye.